Let's pull you up. There's Kez. Hey, Kez. How's your day going? What's up with you?
I have mostly been an ADHD goblin for the last couple of days.
I feel the same sort of. But what do you mean?
Bad. Oh, so my autism's been playing up really bad as well as my ADHD, so I'm getting really overwhelmed really quickly, so I'm stimming and ticking a lot and bouncing off the walls. So I'm like the other day, yesterday or the day before, I spent an hour solid going just constantly. Yeah, and then randomly going beep. Because that's another one. Just beep.
Yeah.
If I get overwhelmed, just beep.
Just got to come out.
Yep. It doesn't come out. It doesn't not. I spent the first 10 minutes of my stream going pretty. That kind of ADHD.
Oh my gosh. So it turns up sometimes and it gets a little overwhelming for you.
Yeah. And then I'll stim and squeak and make weird noises and generally be an ADHD goblin.
An ADHD goblin. Well, goblins are welcome on my show and we love you. And I'm so fucking stoked to get to hang out with you.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute, hasn't it?
It's been a minute. Been a couple of minutes. A minute or two, right? And we've, as we say, we've invited you here in the spirit of building leftist unity, strength, and power. And in the same spirit, thank you for coming today. I'm really looking forward to our chat. Do you have any questions before we begin?
No, but I do think there is something I need to explain. Someone in your chat just noticed my shirt.
Okay.
It says
you're a flat earther.
The Earth is flat, right?
Right. You're a flat earther, and you don't believe in globe Earth. But
this is actually a Discworld t-shirt.
Oh! How else would it stay on the turtle if it wasn't flat? Oh, you had us in the first half.
Yep, I am a Terry Pratchett fan, a very big one.
Oh my gosh, love your face, Kez. Alex, we're going to go ahead
since I was a kid.
Yeah. Who? I actually didn't catch that. Terry Pratchett?
Terry Pratchett, yep.
Terry Pratchett. Do I know of Terry Pratchett?
I think I've mentioned him to you a few times.
Okay. He's a cool guy in a hat.
Yes, he did. He wrote the Discworld books. And
okay.
He's the one who died of Alzheimer's that made me start doing a yearly Alzheimer's charity stream.
Yeah. I think you should get the hat too, Kez.
I should get that. It's a good hat.
Oh, you're not looking. I'm such a bad streamer here. There it is. There's the hat.
I do. I love Terry's hat. Terry's great. I miss him. He died while I was pregnant with my daughter.
Oh, fuck. I'm sorry to hear that, honey. So Kez, this is the interview show, and I'm really stoked to do the interview. Really excited to get into it. I've tweaked it a little bit today at the very end of the questionnaire. I'll drop the link in the Twitch chat if you want to follow along with the most.
I prepared for all the questions I had.
I know. I'm
Why
sorry.
did you do this to me?
You're gonna be good. You're gonna be good with these audibles here. So let's do this. So Kez, where are you? Where are you from? Let folks know what you do and where folks can find you. Yeah.
Sure. So I live in the UK, but I'm from Ireland, born and raised. I moved over to the UK when I was 17. Mm-hmm. I am a disabled, stay-at-home, non-binary parent. Live with my partner, my 2 kids. So most of what I do is parenting, but I also stream and shout at people on Twitter, at Kezzbox Twitch on Twitter, if you're interested. I also now have a TikTok, but I have yet to post. I haven't decided if I'm going to do the TikTok. I don't know if I'm too old or not.
I don't even know. I don't get it.
Do you remember Vine?
Yeah.
It's
awesome.
Basically Vine.
Yeah, but there's so much more going on. Everyone's doing super edity things with their phones, very special effects.
But that's
I liked how
there's
simple
all the new
Vine
fucking
was.
Tech now. I don't know. No, none of that.
I think you might be right about that.
Too old for that bollocks.
Yeah, you can't do a Vine these days. It's over.
Yup.
I feel I've looked at it. I feel too old for it.
I flick through it, but otherwise,
it doesn't make sense. So, Kez, how do we know each other? I think at one point I got rated in by Sansol.
Yes, so you and I met a few times before that in Kenzo Street. Great. And other random places in Left Twitch. And then we kind of really stopped and sat down and had a chat after we got raided in from the Trans Lifetime charity stream we did last year with Sansol that I helped out with. And then you and I and Lady Rain and what have you ended up talking about trans stuff and so on and so on. And you and I became very, very quick friends.
So lucky that that's happened, and how the world turns like that. It's I always like checking into how people, how what links tie us together. It's always fascinating to me a little bit as we're building community, and as we're building the greater Lefter community. So, Kez, this brings us to a little part where you get to tell us what's grinding your gears, what's on your mind these days. We got time. I don't have a very hard stop time at 4, but generally speaking, we go, usually no more than 60 minutes. But we have plenty of time to chit chat. What's on your mind? Current events? Anything else?
Actually, the main thing that's been annoying me is what's going on in Northern Ireland and the complete lack of reporting in the mainstream news here in the UK. If I want to find out what's going on over there, I need to actually go in and look at the local Northern Irish newspapers to find out. I need to do proper fucking journalistic digging, and it shouldn't be that difficult. When there's the threat of a restarting civil war, it should not be that hard to find information. But it is. And all of this has come about because of the Northern Ireland Protocol, which is part of the Brexit agreement. Brexit being the complete clusterfuck it was, and Boris Johnson being the complete fucking twat badger he is, it has been utterly fucked up. And it's essentially, there has been a border placed down the Irish Sea between mainland Ireland and mainland UK. And there is a border down the sea. And obviously the unionists in Northern Ireland who want to stay part of the UK feel like they've been thrown under the bus and left behind. They don't feel part of the UK anymore because everything coming in and out of Northern Ireland now has to go through quite a lot of customs checks.
Okay.
So the unionists have started bombing and rioting and fighting and attacking cops and what have you again. Now, last I heard, and I've been trying to find more information, but it's very difficult to find.
Yeah.
Last I heard, the IRA wasn't doing anything. They were keeping their head down. But solo independent Republicans were... So this is a difficult one to explain. So they're... In Belfast, it's segregated. Protestant, Catholic. With a peace fence between the two sections. Right?
Yeah. Peace fence.
A peace fence. That's what they called it. Yeah. As in a peace fence.
Yeah. It's sort of a it's those words don't fit together, but go on.
Well, they called it the peace fence because it was put there to try and stop Protestants and Catholics attacking each other.
It's really a war fence.
Yeah.
They just, okay.
Don't even go there. And one of the things that the unionists have been doing is chucking petrol bombs and shit over it. Mm-hmm. Fireworks and rocks and all sorts of shit. And a load of Republican Catholic families got fed up and started chucking shit back. And I'm sitting here going, no, what is wrong with you? The media are already baying for an excuse to say, oh, but the Republicans. Because they know it's the unionists doing it, and they know that the unionists are actually on Westminster's side, and they know that they're on the DUP side, the DUP being the main party with power in Northern Ireland. The DUP being, I don't exactly remember what it stands for, the something unionist party. So they're, very, very, very Protestant, and they're very, very pro-UK, and so on and so on. And it's very frustrating for me because I've seen all this before. I remember when the Good Friday Agreement was signed. I remember the tail end of the fighting in the early 90s. And I have been saying for years that the last thing I want is for it to start again. But the moment they called the Brexit referendum in 2015, I said this was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And the Tories and their fucking supporters were like, you're fear-mongering, nothing's going to happen. Fucking really?
Yeah. Hopefully you grab some receipts.
Oh, I have receipts, but I also have an incredible itchy knuckles, we'll put it that way.
I love it. I love it.
It's so frustrating when you know something's going to happen because you've seen it before and you've studied it and you know how this shit works. Especially with my own fucking country. Yeah. I think I'd know if it's on the brink of fucking war again. And oh, look, we're pedaling towards the brink of fucking war again.
So what do you think happens next? What are we looking out for? More of the same, more bombing buses by unionists? Like, what the fuck? It doesn't even make sense. Their protest doesn't even make sense. A bus?
So part of the reason it was a bus is because the buses in Northern Ireland are nationalised. They're run by the government. So being pissed off with the government for not objecting to the Northern Ireland Protocol means that it made sense for them to target a bus.
You're right. Yeah. Okay. I guess there's a logic.
Yeah. One of a few things will happen. Either it'll settle down by itself if the Republicans don't do anything, and the British government don't do anything. It will eventually burn out and settle down by itself. Mm-hmm. Or the British government will decide to send an army back in, which would be a problem because, of course, the army would be on the unionist side. Mm. And the police have already been caught for unfairly coming down on Catholics for no reason. As it is, like Republican Catholics. Already been called out for it more than once since this has started again. Or the Republicans start fighting back because they're backed into a corner. And it's the actual IRA fighting back and not just randomers, you know? And my concern there is that A, it will damage our cause for a unified Ireland because it will paint us in the worst fucking possible light, because anytime they can and will, they will paint us as the aggressors, even if it's not true. The same thing happened last time in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. On top of which, the IRA now, the new IRA, does not have the same level of public support as it did in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s in Northern Ireland. The public support for it is gone. Nobody, like by and large, wants fighting to be happening. It was different. So the Troubles was kicked off in 1969 by an off-duty special forces branch of the Ulster Police attacking a group of peaceful unarmed protesters, including children, and beating the ever-loving shite out of them. That's what triggered it. It's called the Battle of the Boggin, I believe. And it went from that to 3 days later in Belfast. The parachute regiment from Britain had been sent over, and they opened fire on an unarmed crowd of Catholic protesters. The IRA wasn't even there. And this fucking army regiment opened fire on an unarmed crowd. And no one's been done for that. They all got off because, oh, well, we thought we heard a gunshot, or, oh, we thought we saw one of them with a gun, which is enough. You don't need proof. You don't need anything. If you think you hear or see someone with a gun, that's it. Yeah. But there was no evidence of anybody in that crowd having had any form of weapon on them whatsoever. And that's just it. History will just repeat itself again. It just it baffles me because we've all seen this before, and it makes me really angry because it's the last thing I want to happen. But I can see it going. I can see it all going the same way. So a couple of people in your chat have brought a couple of things up that I just want to address quickly. Battle of the Bogside, yes, Cameron, you're correct. I misremembered the name. Bloody Sunday, technically yes, but also there was more than one Bloody Sunday in Irish history. When you say to an Irish person, how do you feel about Bloody Sunday? Our answer will always be, which one? Because there were more than one. There were so many. There was one in the 20s, there was one in the 70s, there was one in the 60s, there was one in the 80s, there was one, I think, in the 50s at some point. There's been a lot of Bloody Sundays where British troops or British coppers just came in and fucking, or black and tans, just fucking decided to kill random Irish civilians. An unelectable airway said the Irish always called in to tell civilians to leave before bombing shit. Not technically true. I'm a Republican. A filthy Republican, yes. But I can recognise where we went wrong. And we didn't always, and we should have. Or, we should have not been fucking bombing. Because it doesn't fucking help. At all. But violence begets violence. If you create a system on violence, you need violence to maintain it. Look at America, right? It is a police state. It uses violence to maintain its power. Because it was founded upon violence. That's how it works. You will get considerably more done with a considerably better state come out of it in the end if you don't use violence to get there. Even if it is a harder slog and more of you die because you're not armed and you don't take more of them with you. It's just unfortunately, from all the political history I have studied, the best way to get anywhere. Unfortunately.
So, Kez, next up, where are they now? Talk about your current project. What are you up to? You could talk about anything that keeps you busy, anything that you care about.
Mostly my kids are keeping me busy.
Yeah.
I'm also doing an awful lot of self-reflection and self-learning and self-improvement.
Okay.
I recently discovered that I'm polyamorous.
Polyamorous. Yeah, talk about
that. So I have, basically the easiest way to explain it is I have enough love for more than one partner.
Yeah.
So I am reading as much as I can get my hands on, not just about like queer stuff like I normally would be, but about polyamorous stuff as well. So the ways to do it like ethically without hurting anybody, different kinds of polyamory. So like there's hierarchical polyamory where you have like a main partner and then a secondary or a third partner and they get prioritized like that. There's relationship anarchy where nobody has priority over anybody else. There's like family and community based polyamory where it's several partners who all date each other. There's lots and lots of different kinds.
Okay.
And it's a case of realizing this thing about myself and doing as much research on it as I can to find out what kind would be best for me and the relationship I am in now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I absolutely. Everything makes sense. I'm looking forward to next time we meet up. We'll keep chatting about these things, and I just sort of want to consider this like an open conversation, an ongoing conversation. And I love chatting with you and hearing about you and seeing what's going on. You engage with life directly, and you ask yourself these questions, and you realize a more true version of yourself as you go. It's just beautiful. And yeah.
I do my best to grab life by the balls because I've come too close to dying too many times.
Oh man.
Or to losing people too many times. Yeah. It's not worth it.
Oh, gosh. So now we get to talk about your leftward bound journey, Alex. Talk about, your pathway towards leftism throughout your life. If you don't want to define your ideology or politics, you don't have to, but you're encouraged. Why don't we start there?
Well, I'm an anarcho-communist.
Okay.
But I call myself a practical anarcho-communist. I am very aware that some sort of uprising or revolution isn't really going to happen.
So that's impractical. Uprising, a revolution. Okay.
A violent revolution is entirely impractical.
All right. So practical meaning...
Meaning we do not have the people, the artillery, the strategy, the training, or anything else we would need.
Not with that attitude.
I can fire a shotgun and a rifle. Yeah. That's about it.
Yeah, same. I can't even.
I'm not fit enough to be capable of doing the things that would need to be done in a bloody revolution, and I'm a pacifist anyway. Mm. I will fight if I have to, but only if I have to. And I really don't like it.
Yeah.
I have fought my way out of bad situations, but I don't like doing it. I always feel bad afterwards. And I think a lot of that stems from my teenagers, because I used to fight a lot. I was the weird kid. I was the only queer alternative rocker kid in a village that was really very small. Like, my school had maybe 300 pupils in total. My high school. A tiny area. And I was the only queer in the county. So I was the weird one. I was the emo one. And I had to learn to defend myself early, because I realised one day when a 6'4" bloke was throwing fucking fireworks at my head that they weren't going to leave me alone unless I did. Lit fireworks.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I was 14, 15, 16, something like that.
Oh my gosh.
I ended up with this 6 foot. Now, I'm 5'4", right? And at the time, I was very, very slim. I was like, I think an American size 4.
Okay.
Like, so really tiny.
Yeah.
And I ended up with this 6'4" burly bloke pinned up against the window of the shop with a ballpoint pen at his throat because I lost my temper.
Tactical pen.
Yeah. The moment I realised that I could scare the shit out of somebody that much.
Yeah.
And the moment I realised in my brain that I could have pushed that pen if I wanted to, was the moment I went, yeah, no more.
Yeah.
The moment I realised I was capable of hurting somebody that badly, or like killing somebody in cold blood, was the moment I was like, I'm out. And I refused to be violent since, like, as much as I possibly could, because I hate it, because I know what I'm capable of, and that fucking scares the shit out of me.
Look out, Kez. Let's keep digging in then. Moving on in the leftward bound journey, are there any aspects that you could point to specifically of politics, leftist theory or thinking, of history, your personal experiences, more of those? Anything that helped win your heart and mind and pull you to the left? So
it's interesting you say that, because I was actually raised pretty left-leaning.
Okay.
I don't know if I've told you the story, but my great-grandfather fought in the 1916 Rising in Dublin, just before Ireland became a free state. And my great-grandmother, his wife, was a founding member of the Women's Republican Movement, Cumann na mBan, it was called. And I grew up being told stories of families. So I was told stories of, like, just after the hijacking of the General Post Office in Dublin City Centre, my great-granddad was walking down the high street next to the Liffey, walking down O'Connell Street, and tucked into his pocket was one of the guns that had been used, like just a little handgun, that had been used in the taking of the post office. And if it wasn't for a sympathetic lass who lived like just up the road and let him come through her house and out her garden, he'd have been nicked because the army fucking came up behind him.
What?
Yeah. And that was before even my grandmother was born.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be here if he'd been nicked.
That's absolutely fascinating.
And there's a lot of little things as well. Like, I've always had, I think because I'm autistic, I've always had a very ingrained sense of fairness. So watching the way I was treated as a queer person growing up, watching how governments would shit on the working class of their country, watching what was going on in Iraq as I was a kid, 9/11, like all of that shit, it made me realise just how little people put faith and care into other people. And that's always bothered me. When I was in my late teens, I went through a bit of a fundamentalist Christian phase because I was desperately trying to fit in and not be what I am. Because it was at this point I started realising I'm transgender.
Yeah.
And being someone who was raised in a Catholic country, I kind of balked against it and sort of hid myself away behind Christianity and went quite right-wing for a while, but my heart wasn't in it. I always knew, like, in here and in here, that I was too gay for that place. And there were so many things, like so many teachings that the pastor would put forward and what have you, and my brain would be just going, that's absolute fucking bollocks, do you know that? And one day I walked out. No, I remember what it was. I was having a conversation with the pastor's wife about being pansexual and thinking I was transgender. And she said that I'd have to get rid of it. There was no way I could be a good Christian and also be that. And I walked out and never went back.
Smart. Bye.
I went
Not for me. Fuck these people.
And never went back. Suck my dick.
Do that with me together, bye. And I want to make this our thumbnail. Based. That's going to be a really good thumbnail.
Yes, it is.
For the YouTube.
I've always had a bit of an attitude problem, and I've always had an issue with authority or people who put themselves in roles of authority. I think a lot of that is the revolutionary in the blood, if you know what I mean, from my granddad and my grandma. But yeah, unless there's a good reason for something, I'm not doing it. And if you're telling me that I need fucking conversion therapy, which has like legally been determined by the UN to be fucking torture, in order to be a good Christian, then I don't want to be a fucking good Christian, do I?
Not for me either.
And then I found, what did I find first? So all of this time I'd spent growing up watching Cracked. I don't know if you remember Cracked.
Cracked.com?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cracked on YouTube, yeah.
Okay, what's that for people who don't?
So for people who don't know, Cracked was like a left-leaning article website. They did articles, they did video blogs, they did skits, mostly comedy, a little bit of fact thrown in.
Yeah.
Very, very good. And when everybody got sacked, like I'd already started to move left at this stage, like quite a bit. And I don't really remember what pulled me left.
Yeah.
But I just sort of ended up moving left because I was getting more and more angry at things that were going on. And when Cracked was bought out and they let go all their old cast, I ended up following Cody Johnston and Katie Stoll by themselves. Now Cody was already quite heavily left and he was already doing some more news at this stage. And he was doing it under the Cracked banner initially.
Wasn't called Some News, then it was just called Some News.
Oh yeah, it was called Some News at the time, that's right, sorry. And it was under the Cracked banner. And when everyone was sacked, he and Katie went, fuck it, we'll continue. And named it Some More News and continued. So I kept watching it. And the more Cody moved left and the more angry Cody got, the more I moved left and then got angry initially. And then I found what was dubbed BreadTube. So I found ContraPoints and I found Philosophy Tube and H-Bomber Guy. And then I found smaller lefty accounts. And then I found Twitch, which I actually found from watching Critical Role, which is like that D&D thing I told you about.
Yeah.
Watching voice actors play D&D.
Yeah.
And I found Twitch through them. And I ended up one day bored and flicking through the politics category. Yeah. And stumbled upon Chud Logic.
Hey.
And it was Chud Logic that pulled me into leftist Twitch.
Yep. Holy moly. Do you still watch a lot of Chud Logic these days?
Not a lot, because I don't have as much time as I used to, but I do still... I mod for Chud Logic now.
Hey, great. Hey,
and we're good buddies.
Yeah.
Like, I you know, hop around and pop in and out and what have you, and I'm in and out of all sort of different times and places and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. We've just learned a lot about you, and I've just lost my link here. Let me pull it up. So,
can I address that person you timed out a little while ago?
Yeah. Give it a moment. Yeah.
So, Frapper Goes Woke says, you're not pansexual.
Oh, man.
You know, I think it's awfully interesting that you claim to know my sexuality more than I fucking do. Do you live in my head or what?
That is so weird. Why would someone say that?
Fucking swivel.
Why would someone say that?
Because they're a fucking dickhead, clearly.
Yeah, sorry about that, by the way. They're not like someone in the community or anything. So, Kez, We can keep moving on here. I'm sorry, my cat's actually losing her mind in the background.
You're good. I have two. I understand.
What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? I think she's playing.
Cats.
I think she's playing with herself. Yeah. And she's like dragging a toy around. Yeah.
One of mine isn't fixed.
Yeah.
So there will be moments where she'll decide she's just going to howl her face off.
Yep.
And yowl her face off for no apparent reason.
Right.
And she'll wake the kids, and she'll attack her sister, and all sorts of shit. And it'll just funny 5 minutes. The youngest one, the weird one, is up there on the top of my cabinet. You can't see her.
They love to look down on you.
There.
They love to lord.
There she is, look.
My people. Look at her. She looks like she's going to get into some shit.
She's
going to break something, I tell you what.
She already broke my vase.
Oh my gosh.
I was so pissed at that.
That's why we can't have anything nice.
It's true. Can't have nice things because I've got cats and children.
Okay.
If it's not her, it's the fucking kids, and they're always breaking something.
Oh my gosh. And I'm sorry to have interrupted with my cat. Before we depart the leftward bound portion of our discussion, anything else that we want to make sure we shoehorn in that
I think I've
pull you to the left? Yeah, they brought
said
us up
I'm
to the
clear
current,
often enough.
Yeah. Okay.
That and working too many telemarketing jobs for not enough money in too many hours.
Yeah, and then you realize that they're stealing your money your entire life.
Yup. And I'm like, I was 18 or 19 when I was doing these jobs, right? And I was all right at them, but like, I was working. There were days when I was working 12-hour shifts because I was that desperate for money, because I wanted to move out of my dad's house because my dad's a prick.
Yeah.
Let's put it this way. My dad is enough of a prick that when I came out to him, he said, "You're being selfish. You should think more about how this is going to affect your other half and the kids." That was his response to me coming out the strands.
I just felt my brain smoothing out a little bit.
I haven't spoken to him. I came out to my other half in June or July in 2019. Mm-hmm. Just before my son was born. Okay. I came out to my dad in February this year. That's how much I was regretting it. Mm-hmm. Like, how much I was dreading it, sorry. Like, I didn't come out to my dad for nearly 2 years. Mm-hmm. I came out to my mum, and my mum was like, "I don't understand it, but if it made you happy and it's who you are, then it's who you are." You know, and my stepdad was very much the same. My little brother was very much the same. I haven't heard from either of my older brothers or my older sister. And all I got was crap from my dad. And I got support from two of my cousins on my dad's side. One lives in Maine in the States and is a bit less sheltered than my father is. And the other one is actually a bisexual lass who is dating a non-binary person. Mm-hmm.
What's the Irish phrase that you got lads and lasses? What's the NB phrase?
We don't really have one.
That's sad. I was thinking about that.
Lads, lassies, and MBs is what I say.
Okay. I just wish it.
Sometimes I say ladettes, but
ooh, ladettes. It's in there somewhere. We're gonna workshop it.
Yeah, but yeah, it was easy to come out to my cousins, but my dad was my dad. He's always been like that. He walked out when I was 12, and we haven't really ever gotten on anyway. 27 years of marriage, he decided to throw down the toilet because he'd been cheating on my mother for several years and couldn't be bothered to actually talk out his problems as opposed to just being a cunt and fucking off elsewhere.
Oh, fuck. What an asshole.
Oh, yeah, my dad is a proper fucking prick.
Then we can move on then. Let's talk about the next category, Be Best. Hashtag Be Best. If you had the chance to go back in time and teach like a younger version of yourself some life shortcuts, career, political shortcuts, what might you teach someone like that, or pass along wisdom to someone in the chat or watching the replay?
So if it were me and I was talking to myself 10 years ago, there's a few things I'd say. Mm-hmm. Some of which not particularly suitable for a live stream.
Okay.
Learn about politics earlier would be one. Start streaming earlier. Because nobody cares if the quality's bad to begin with, as long as you don't keep fucking disconnecting.
Okay.
Help people instead of being a selfish shitbag. Like, okay, that homeless guy you invited around at Christmas, great, fine, you invited him around at Christmas, but he needed a new coat, and if you'd started streaming, you could have bought him one. That transphobic twat you used to date, boom. Oh, and if you ever get anybody in your chat, it doesn't matter if they're your single viewer, you can still kick them out if they're a cunt. It's why you have a ban button. Also, go to fucking anger management classes. Holy shit. And get more help for your mental health. That would be another one, because my mental health sucked. I was, as much as I hate to admit this, when my partner and I first got together, I was nearly 20. I wasn't quite yet. It was the April before I turned 19. And I have borderline personality disorder. And at the time, it was completely unmanaged and uncontrolled because I didn't really know I had it. It had been floated as an you might have, but I didn't know for certain it was something I had. And so nothing ever happened and I never got any help for it. But I realised how toxic and bad having BPD was for me and for my relationship, and why I fucked up so many previous relationships because of it. Because I was a very toxic, angry person because of it, because it was completely unmanaged. Having BPD is like feeling everything turned up to 20 as opposed to 10. And there's like the abandonment issues and the insecurities and all the other shit that comes with that as well. And the paranoia and the self-hate and the self-image issues and so on and so on and so on. All of this mixed up together makes very angry, often unhinged people. And I was, like, I say this in the nicest way I can. Like, it's really mild now, unless I have a bad flare. But at the time, like, he couldn't say 2 words to me or I'd be fucking throwing shoes at him across the room. Like, I had a really bad temper. And it didn't take much for me to lose it. Like, one of the main symptoms I had was a feeling of a lack of self-worth. And in my teens and my early 20s, I used to use sex as a way to feel worth something. That was my thing. Like, I will comfortably say I was, and probably still am, a bit of a hoe. I'm fine with it. But it meant that I used sex to feel good about myself, to validate my existence. And that's not healthy. That leads to things like being coerced into doing sex work, because 2 birds, 1 stone. You know, it leads to my body count now being in the late double digits. It's not healthy. And I should have known that earlier, and I should have stopped doing that earlier than I did. But being and feeling wanted and feeling attractive was the only thing I had that made me feel like I was worth anything, especially if I was dealing with my abandonment issues or loneliness or any of that shit. Like, if anything else flared up, sex was my coping mechanism. I eventually replaced sex with tattoos, and now I really want more tattoos. But, like, it's amazing I didn't end up with an STD or something. Like, I should have. With how fucking reckless I was in my teen years, I should have ended up with an STD or something, but I never did. So don't do what I did. Be fucking sensible. Be not a hoe.
That's really great. Excellent stuff. I think a lot of people are going to jive with what you're saying. Thank you for dropping your knowledge, wisdom bombs on us. So this now brings us, Kez, Alex, to the leftist inquisition question. Everyone loves it. Everyone loves it.
Go for it.
What do you think? Ready to go? Want to do it?
Go on.
Let's do it to it. Do you have a favorite word, Alex?
I actually have 2.
Hit me.
Fuck and cunt.
Fuck cunt. Yeah.
They're my favorite words. Fuck and cunt.
All right. So I'm going to ask your least favorite word.
Moist. Nah. It makes me feel like there are ants on my brain. I don't like the mouthfeel.
I will say some people's favorite word is cunt. So that's great that it's your favorite. I will, however, say no one said moist is their favorite word. We've never gone the opposite direction.
A terrible word.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
So because I'm autistic, I have weird noises and words that genuinely feel like there are either ants under my skin or on my brain. And that's one of them. And it just, no. It physically disgusts me.
I won't say it.
You want to, though. I can see it on your face.
I don't want to say it. I don't want to say it to you. I just want to say it out loud and like reaffirm how, and go, yeah, it is a bad word. But I'm not going to say it. I'll just say it in my head.
It's okay.
I'm good.
I'll just shudder.
I'll mute me to you, so you won't hear me say it. Moist. But you saw me say it, so it was sort of like half that. Okay. Here we go. All right. Next up, do you have a least favorite? Oh, I did that least favorite word. Okay. Do you, okay. Can we talk about your favorite drug or vice or guilty pleasure? Or you can pick one of each.
So I have two favorite drugs, cigarettes and caffeine, nicotine and caffeine. Two favorite drugs. Yeah. My favorite vice? Oh. This is a hard one because it's still technically sex. And the older I get, because I'm female bodied, just the higher my libido gets and the more of a problem it becomes.
Look at that.
And it was never low.
Yeah.
Guilty pleasure. Really bad, cheesy, repetitive pop music, like mass-produced pop music.
Okay. Give me an example. Somebody.
There's a couple of Little Nas X songs I like Old Town Road and Call Me When You Want. There's that fucking one that keeps going around on TikTok, Slumber Party.
Okay.
And there's that Overwhelmed song that Ryan Mac dude did that just like, it's like 2 minutes of the same lyrics over and over and over again. They're just really catchy. I can't get them out of my head.
It's going to get you, dude. You ever have a dream? Okay, next. Sorry, I'm not going to play that song. Next. We said we got one of each, right? Drug, vice, guilty pleasure. Nice. Sounds or noise? Is there one that you love?
Music. I am obsessed with music. I love music. I can sit down and I can go from listening to Slipknot 1 minute to mass-produced pop garbage the next, to musicals in between.
Yeah.
I have a vast love of music, and genre doesn't seem to get in the way.
That's beautiful. You can listen to lots of different types then.
Yeah, and I find it's good when I'm dealing with like sensory overstimulation with my autism. If I just put my headphones on and blare music and block out the world, it just settles my brain down.
Do you then have a sound or noise that you hate or intensely dislike?
Yes. You know when you're cutting like a steak on a plate and the fork slips and it makes that fucking screeching noise? Yeah, hurts my teeth. Ants on the brain. No, that can't happen. Nope.
Fucking sucks, dude. It shatters your soul.
Yeah, it does.
It's like time stops existing.
I hate it
and
so
it's
bad.
Replaced with hatred. Exactly.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, then. How about the next question, which is about reincarnation? If you could come back as a plant or a non-human animal, what would it be?
So if it was a plant, I would come back as a Venus flytrap because they just seem like the trolls of the plant world. Yeah. If I was an animal, I would come back as a bat. I really like bats. They are very, very cute.
They're sky puppies. They're so cute.
Yes, they are tiny and they are floofy and they are cute.
They're sort of cute. Like if you give bats a chance, they're adorable.
Yes, I am obsessed with bats at the moment.
I don't think anyone said bat yet. That's a good one.
I would also love to fly, especially in the twilight.
Right.
When it's starting to get dark it's like a dark sort of blue in the sky. Everything's quiet. It's great.
I would just fly extra, like on the nights of the full moon, just to freak people out a little bit. Like, yeah, gotcha. Then this is the God question. If you find out heaven and God exist, What would you like to hear them say when you arrive at your version of the pearly gates at the
You're
end of
gonna
your
like
life?
this. You're gonna like this. Ah,
Okay.
fuck, not you. I've been dreading this day.
No one said that. Dreading it.
Oh,
Dreading.
yeah.
It's like, oh,
Because he knows
shit.
I'm gonna. If he is a thing, he knows I'm gonna kick him the fuck out from up there and kick him down here so we can deal with the shit he caused.
Take your tactical pen out. Jab God in the neck. What did I just say? Wow. I'm going to
The God
disappoint
question was the last
some people with that one. Okay. So let's name then, please, an influential leftist, be them dead or alive, that you would love to meet.
So, dead, I'd really love to have met James Connolly, but he was a sexist bastard, so...
Ooh. Yeah.
Alive is a harder one.
Okay.
I would love to meet both Abby Thorne of Philosophy Tube and Owen Jones,
Owen Jones.
the
Who's
gay
that?
British
Yeah.
journalist.
Okay.
They are both wonderful human beings.
Yeah.
And I would very much like to meet them.
Hey. Okay. If you... what is my next question? I think I've changed it. Oh, no, that... Is this accurate?
That's the one I answered.
That
Was
is it's just phrased differently. So what would your influential leftist, or you can name both and chat about both of them. What do you think they would think about you or the world as we see it now? Obviously, the one who passed would be most startled.
Yeah, James Connolly would mostly be confused and would probably look at me and go, "The fuck is this Egypt doing?"
Is this what doing? Is what?
Egypt. It's the Irish slang term for idiot. EEJIT.
Egypt.
Egypt.
Cute. What's this Egypt doing? Why? Why would you say that?
Because Dublin, that's why. I think if it were Abby or Owen,
Yeah.
they'd see me as they see every other queer leftist, just another member of the fight in the family, as it were.
You got it, comrade. You got it.
Any other queer leftist with a platform. You know? I would blend in as one of the crowd, as it were.
So the next question, it is a little bit different from what it was when I first sent you the questionnaire. What would you ask them given the chance?
Oh. So with James Connolly, I wouldn't ask him anything. I'd tell him something. And
Yeah,
I would
okay.
say that Ireland wouldn't have come as far as it has without women's movements like Common them on. So pull your head out of your arse and stop being a jockstrap. With Abby and Owen, I don't know. Do you want to go for a drink? Probably.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, probably. Do you want to go for a pint?
That's the leftist inquisition. But there's one last question I have. Do you have streamer tips? What tips do you have for the streamers out there?
Yes. So
Hit me.
if you want to do it, whether or not you do, it depends. Are you an allo cishet white dude? Then sure, go for it. You'll be fine as long as you make sure you welcome marginalized people into your community. Because if you don't, you're just as bad as those you claim to hate. Marginalized folks, don't. Don't unless you know that you have a very fucking thick skin and a very low tolerance for bullshit. Never be afraid to ban. You've got one viewer and they're a homophobe? Kick that bitch out. Just, you need, particularly if you're someone like me, and you've got mental health issues, or you're some form of marginalized, be you queer, or black, or Asian, or whatever, you need to know that you can take the bullying and the harassment that Twitch throws at you. Because it doesn't matter how new you are or how old you are, you will always get trolls. I mean, Lucid Fox still gets 5 or 6 a day, and he has hundreds of viewers. You know, Hassan still gets 5 or 6 a day, if not more, and he has thousands of viewers. You know, like, it doesn't matter how big or small your audience is, you will always get shit stirrers, and you will always get arseholes and trolls. And you need to learn to A, be witty and clap back. B, very quickly locate the ban button. And C, to protect those in your community that need protecting the most, because otherwise they will not feel comfortable and welcome in your community. And you cannot say that you are for the rights of those people if they do not feel comfortable in your community. That's just my opinion anyway.
Hey, you brought the good shit today. Love it. Do you have any questions for me? And does Chad have any questions that you're willing to answer? You can literally ignore everything else that you don't want to answer.
Yeah, I'm happy for questions from
All right,
from
hit us,
chat.
chat. Yeah, and of course, anything for me, it doesn't have to be totally one-sided. But
I do actually
have,
have a few.
Okay, yeah.
How do you manage in your chat when you're streaming to balance a healthy conversation while also and a little bit of healthy debate while also protecting the marginalized within your community?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've been doing this a long time. I used to do, but not on Twitch. I've only been doing Twitch for about a year here. But I used to stream regularly on a platform called Periscope. And I would just hop on and I would talk with the chat and I don't know. And along the way, I would try to foster productive conversations and I would learn how to spot people who weren't willing to do that in one way or another. And I just sort of learned to move on from them. It's sort of easy in some respects. So I apply that the same. If someone is willing to give productive conversation and if I don't necessarily agree with them on everything, that's fine. They're allowed to stick around as long as they're not being abusive and as long as they're not, not
annoying.
Is they're not like annoying. Yeah. If they annoy me, they get bopped. Or if they like sort of fail to, if I got to argue the humanity of my comrades, that it's over. Like, I'm not here to argue with chuds whether or not trans people, whether or not their lives have value, whether or not they have rights. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to get someone to sub for me as I argue with people like that. I'm not here to argue with chuds. Like my channel is very much not debatey based. So when people come in hot, like they just stick out like a fucking sore thumb and they reveal themselves to be someone that's not valuable to my community. Now, a lot of times, yeah, they're like fucking Nazis and like transphobes, racists, etc. So you could just sort of see him a mile away. A lot of time they have one fucking move, which is just like, oh, him in your bio. Boom, block. Like, I'm not going to get anything out of this. No one's going to get anything good out of this. This is just hurting like my fucking comrades, and I'm done with that. So you gotta know what your own personal boundaries are, and then also realize that you're trying to foster a positive community and sort of act on that.
Sometimes I like to play with them.
Yeah, they're toys sometimes. I mean, as long as you're not getting hurt. Yeah. But,
it's fun.
For sure. Yeah, they get the ban. I love the ban. I love the ban. I embrace that fucking shit.
If I'm in the right mood, I will sit there and troll them back for a good 20 minutes until they decide to cry. It's great fun.
Well, you actually noticed it earlier, what I did with somebody. I wasn't actually sure what angle they were coming at, and it felt a little funky. And I'm like, I don't want to subject my guest to this for an hour, so I just timed him out for an hour. You know what I mean? So that's another example.
This is me, though. Like, I have a thicker skin than most.
Yeah.
And about bandy back and forth with a troll and probably make them cry without blinking.
Part of it was I didn't want it to suck up all our time here.
Yeah, fair. That is very fair.
Awesome. Yeah. Any questions from chat for Kez, for Alex? Let us know. And we still have time to chat here if you have any questions for me.
Fresh Cow asked what my other half is playing, and he's playing Just Cause 3.
Just Cause. I don't know that one.
It's one of those open world blow shit up games.
Oh, fun.
That's fun. Where did you find leftism? That's another question I have for you.
On Twitch. You were there. Like y'all were there watching me do it. I was watching YouTube videos. I found leftism via YouTube and also engaging with Twitter, but it was really the past year. I decided that I don't know what it was. I decided to start working with Kenzo Shibata. I started to flirt very seriously with socialist ideas, but I wanted to surround myself by leftists and sort of learn my place by talking to jackasses like you and Aronok and everyone in the chat. Literally, couple key moments I like to point to: listening to based daddy Big Dick Richard Wolf talk to me and sort of convince me that throughout my entire life, working for other people, they've literally been stealing from me. That's just literally how it works. It's profit extraction. It's absolutely insane, dude. Another thing was realizing that the police can't be you can't fucking fix them. You can't reform them. And then that sort of blew up to, okay, well, the whole fucking system also, I believe, cannot be reformed. And then I started to see, other viable options, which we realize have taken place throughout history, from indigenous tribes to lots of other smaller experimentations with things like socialism and communism. Give the people the means of their production, give them a stateless, moneyless society, and abolish the police. I'm going to be marching. I'm not going to be marching. I'm going to be protesting later today. I made a fucking sign. I'm not really a sign guy, but it says, ACAB 1312. And it says abolish, and I'm going to walk out there. Speaking of which, and I'll probably stick this in my window afterwards. Yeah.
So Rifter in your chat, you might want to bop. I've seen them before. They're a racist, homophobic troll and an arsehole. Yeah. And have just said that the two people who died recently are just two bad people that were taken off the street at once. So.
What the fuck, dude? That's the thing. Like, I don't take it personally. They let the brainworms get in, not me. So, okay, so Kez, anything else? Anything else we want to chat about before we wrap up?
I have got a few more questions, and hasn't asked anything yet, which is surprising. But
that's boring, chat. You suck.
Be less boring, God.
Let's know anything on your mind, yo.
Favorite band, not artist. Johnny Cash does not count.
Okay. That's not exactly fair, but I'll allow it. He was just like the lead singer of the band. All right.
Doesn't count.
Why?
Because he went under a single name, not a band name. Favorite band.
That was the name of the band. It was actually Johnny Cash and the Tennessee 2.
Don't you argue with me. Just answer the question.
All right. I'll allow it. Favorite band? Fuck. Are you kidding me? I'm a musician. I went to school for music. I could name about 50 bands. I have literally records behind me of all my favorite bands. I don't know. In no particular order. Radiohead, Wilco, Flaming Lips, Tame Impala, Beck, just fucking, I don't know, just tons of stuff. Wolfpack these days I'm really into, sort of like funky music. Just so many different bands. I don't know. I love music. I was raised on it. I could listen. I listen to it all day. I love it. But these days, I'm also listening to like lo-fi and very much in the background. It's nice.
Yeah, I've been really getting back into my old emo phase from my teens because Old Time Low have started releasing music again and Newfound Glory.
Okay.
So I'm like slipping back into all the old emo shit that I used to do.
I think my emo, you listen to like pop emo, dude. I listen to like pop original emo.
And emo. So
I was into emo before you knew it existed.
I highly doubt that.
I think I'm older than you.
Not the point.
Give me a break.
I've been in emo since I was about 6 because I have older siblings. My eldest brother is in his 40s.
All right.
Yeah, and we all had an emo phase.
An Elmo phase? No, emo phase, y'all. Chat.
Yes.
Clean your fucking ears out.
Jake and Aronok are following through a joke that was made in my chat earlier because these young new emos who are like Generation Z or younger are like, oh, but we're really cool because we're emos, and we're sitting here going, bitch, you stand on our shoulders. And they call us, like people of our generation who are emos, the elder emos, which 28 and I'm a fucking elder. Suck my dick, you cheeky bastard. But Jake ended up dubbing it Elmo. Elder, emo,
gosh.
Elmo.
Elmo is not a phase. That's hilarious.
It's true.
It's a lifestyle.
But yeah, no, I still
love
all
bands.
my old emo bands like All American Rejects, Fall Out Boy, My Chemical Romance, Hawthorne Heights, fucking Red Jumpsuit Apparatus, Pierce the Veil, pretty much everything you can think of.
I'm more of like an Elliott Smith emo kind of guy. Like get stabbed in the heart kind of shit.
That's not emo though, that's just sad.
Okay, I think the interview's over. Thanks for your time. Good fucking bye, Kez. This is it. I can't believe you just told me Elliott Smith isn't emo. I mean, you're fired.
But like, also no.
All right, because he's dead. Hey. Okay, you said you had more questions. We have time if you have more questions for me. Yeah.
Yes.
And if
so this is something that I've been asking.
American football. I was raised on it. Yo.
I love American football.
Yeah.
I am a New Orleans Saints fan.
Yeah. I love Promise Ring. My email is American football, Promise Ring, and Elliott Smith. So I think I just outranked you in terms of in terms of emo credibility.
Yeah, I really don't think you do.
You got to take the L on that one, Alex.
How many pairs of skinny jeans do you own?
I literally have jeans that are too skinny for me to own, for me to put on.
Okay, how many pairs of skinny jeans do you own that you can wear? Ones that don't fit don't count.
All right. So I guess I'm not that emo.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You win this round.
Right, so this is a question I've been asking as many of my friends as I can lately because it's something that's been interesting me, particularly since my daughter's kind of bit the learning bug and wanted to know as much as she can about as many things as she can.
Yeah.
What makes you curious?
Well, it's good to be curious about many things. You could think about things that make believe. All you have to do is think, and they'll grow. And if anyone knows the Comrade Rogers remix that I'm referencing right now, good for you. What makes me curious? I get curious about a lot of things. I don't anything. Just anything. Just look at that. Let's figure out about that, and I'll just go down a fucking dumb rabbit hole.
I do.
I love to do that. You know, I used to do that more on the channel. We'd be like, "Hey, what's that?" And they'd be like, "I don't know." And then we'd sort of learn what it was, and then it would raise another question. "Hey, what's that?" And we just keep digging down. It's so fun. I love that.
I do that. I do it with SciShow and Crash Course and Hank Green and John Green and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Vsauce and all that. I'll get curious about something and I will end up down a rabbit hole. 2 hours later, learning about tangentially related things.
Yeah, right.
But my daughter's exactly the same. I only noticed this recently. She's nearly 6. She'll be 6 in September. And she's got the STEM bug. Anything and everything she can learn about science and bugs and stars and math and physics and chemistry, anything and everything she can get her hands on, she will absorb like a sponge. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Like a natural world knowledge of things that are actual fucking real, That's so valuable.
My daughter knows the word for what makes a strawberry stalk stand up and why it wilts if it hasn't been watered. I don't know I don't know a single 6-year-old other than her that knows what turgor pressure is.
Turgor pressure?
Turgor pressure. Turgor pressure.
Turgor.
It's basically with the way so a plant's system for sucking up water and nutrients is kind of like blood vessels.
Yeah.
When a strawberry does that and sucks up all the water from the soil, it stiffens those pipes, which makes it stand up, and it's called turgor pressure. Sort of. That's the closest way I can get to explaining it simply.
Yeah, I can relate.
But, if you want a more comprehensive, not too simplified version, Google it.
It's turgor pressure. Strawberry boner.
Basically, yeah.
Basically. Exactly. Yeah.
Let's see. I've got 2 more questions.
Okay. Oh, wow. You've come prepared. No one else has had this many. I love it.
If you could have knowledge of every kind of human experience, if it would make your leftism better, would you?
I don't know if I could. I would like explode. You know me. I watch a video of Mr. Rogers and I'm like weeping. I don't know if I could fucking handle it. So it would like make my leftism stronger, but at the same time, I'd keel over and die.
I don't think you'd keel over, but I do think you would end up very traumatized.
Right? That's the thing. I can barely handle one story at a time. That being Mr. Rogers. He's the only person that's not yet failed me in life. That's hardly true. You know, but he's like one of these few people that hasn't been canceled yet. You know, one day we're gonna find out he beat his wife or something. I'll be like, fuck.
Yeah, this is why we can't have nice things.
This is why we can't. This is why we say the phrase, "No gods, no masters, only Satanist ass blasters."
Yes,
that's what we say.
Last question.
Oh,
if you had a time machine, what would you do with it?
What would I do with the time machine? Wait. Do I know it works? I would have to test it first, right?
You can do anything you want with it. You know it works.
All right. Am I the only one that can use it?
For this hypothetical, we'll say yes.
All right. So I don't have to like destroy it to like save the world from some weird hypothetical that I've. Okay. I'm weird. You're gonna like. Oh, but you didn't think of this. Okay. I'm joking, but okay. What would I do? What would I do? Time machine. Oh, could I get in it? I want to go backwards in time and just hang out and look around. And when something looks scary, I'll pop back in and just jump to another time and just check it out. And I'd love to go to the future. I want to see the future too. I'm fucking curious. I want to see the past. I want to see the future. But I don't know. I don't want to live forever. So I guess we'd have to come back here and then just, live out the rest of my life. Is that an answer?
I was wondering if there was something specific you'd want to see.
Okay. I'd go back. I'd kill Hitler. I would hit him in the fucking head with a baseball bat until he died from it. Come on, that's pretty good.
I mean, yes and no. No for physics reasons, and yes because Hitler.
Okay, why can't I? Okay, what can't do?
Okay, so for example, right, killing Hitler.
I don't know the rules of time travel. Okay.
Yeah, killing Hitler. If you back and tried to do it, you wouldn't be able to do it while he was leader of the SS. You wouldn't be able to do it while he was Chancellor of Germany, because
he would have baby.
Wait.
God damn it.
He would have too many bodyguards and shit around him, right? Okay. However, if you went back as far as him being a baby, at that point, you will be murdering an innocent baby.
Nah.
There will be no crime for which punitive justice will be necessary.
I get it. But I'm going to hop back in that time machine. I'll be gone before they can get me. But I'll know the good that I've done for the world.
But you don't.
Yeah, no, I'll feel pretty good about it, trust me.
We only know the world that has ended up after World War II. We don't know what might have happened without World War II. Or there could still have been a World War II, but with a different leader, because you have to remember Mussolini was still ruling in Italy at the time. There were still fascists.
Yeah, right, but...
Killing people.
I think the world... It would have been better without Hitler. There would have been another goon in his place, but hopefully less effective.
Unlikely.
That's why he was there, because he was quote unquote. Oh, I hate saying this. Nope, forget it. I'm bailing on that point. I'm bailing. I'm out. You know what I mean. That's why they liked him.
Monkey's right. The world needed Hitler so we could see the end game of fascism that the US would likely become. If Hitler had never done all the shit he did, we wouldn't know what to look out for.
All right.
To watch America go down the pot now and try and prevent it.
Why did I have to bring up Hitler? Fuck me, dude. This is all my fault. All right, what would I don't know what I'd do. I honestly, I just want to peek around. I want to go throughout time. I want to see all the time and peek around. If I can't kill Hitler, it's not fun. So I guess I'm a fly on the wall at that point, huh?
Fair.
All right.
I would go meet Ada Lovelace.
Ada Lovelace.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, who's that? I'm sorry.
Through Lord Byron and the essentially inventor of programming, sort of. Basically, she was the woman who figured out how the first computers would properly work. Basically.
Nice.
To oversimplify. They call her the mother of programming, but technically she isn't, because programming wasn't really a thing. Fuck, computers weren't a thing. But she figured out the maths it would take, basically, to make them work.
Wow, fascinating. Wow.
She was also a philosopher, yes. Genius woman. Right, chat. Any questions before I bounce?
Last chance. Last chance, y'all. Well, I will say, if we see something pop up, that's fine. I will say, Alex, we've invited you here today in the spirit of building leftist unity, power, and strength. In the same spirit, thank you for sharing your story, your wisdom and knowledge. And I'm really looking forward to coming back, having you on for a round 2. We can dig in and revisit some of these really important issues we were talking about today. We were talking about what's happening in Northern Ireland, and we want to keep an eye on that. You are a beautiful and be human, and I want to make sure that when things relevant in that respect are popping up, we consider yourself like a correspondent or whatever. Like, I want to have you on to hold my hand through things and whatnot. So thank you again for being you. Thank you again for being a beautiful human being. We're going to go ahead and let you go today. And I just got to say, you're just wonderful. And I'm so stoked and happy to be your friend and your comrade.
Well, I'm glad you're my friend too. I do have one last piece of news, actually, personally related. So, everything got really weird with my other half and I when I came out as trans.
Yeah.
And I told you about it, and things were really tough for a while. He re-proposed last weekend.
Well, congrats to you two.
So we're saving up to get married.
Yay. That sounds expensive. But it's going to be a good party, I bet.
So expensive.
Let's have a party.
There will be lots of alcohol. Lots of alcohol.
Well, that's a party to me. Okay. Kezzbox, Alex. My love, my boo-boo. That'll be that. I love your face. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah, you too, buddy. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being had. Okay, how do I get out? I'm trying to hit the scene. Whoops. Oh, jeez. I always do that. Hey, YouTube. You're watching a clip from my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/iDanSimpson, where you can follow for free and subscribe for only $5 a month. Thanks for watching.